I was a little too young for Beatlemania.
She could go down in the history of this program as the greatest of all time.
Well, Kim, this is something we're trying new rather than when Grubbin With G, which takes a long time and you're so busy.
Right.
We figured we got this from Jerry Seinfeld, driving in cars with comedians, coffee or whatever they would do. So just a little thing. We want to do it with some of your players as well. So you're the initial first person to do this.
So I'm the guinea pig.
You're the guinea pig. If it doesn't work, we'll
So if it doesn't work, we just chunk it, trash it.
Toss it away. We'll toss it away. So we're...
Now, you got to know that I'm going to listen to a different style of music than my players, so you better make sure you have all kinds of music in here.
You're right. Ooh, Johnny Cash and June Carter.
I can do that. Louisiana Woman, Mississippi Man, right?
Yeah, that would be good.
Was that Conway Twitty? Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn sang that.
Yeah, I don't recall. I know the song. I can't place who did it.
Yeah.
So we're going to go just grab something a little healthy. I don't know if you knew, but I read the other day that the average American will gain 8 to 10 pounds from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
I believe it.
And I'm on my way to about 3 to 4 pounds already.
I'm probably past that. But I can't blame it just on Thanksgiving and Christmas. I blame it on the season.
Yeah.
When you're sitting there watching film
you just
late
start
at
nibbling
night.
On something.
To keep you awake, you nibble, and I'm good for at least 3 or 4 Barks root beers in a bottle.
That's what I was going to ask you. So what is your go-to snack if you're nervous or you're getting worked up? What do you...
I don't have just one, but I do drink way too many Barks root beers in the bottle.
A lot of sugar in that.
Yeah, and then I do the small bottle Coke, so I drink more. I know it. I drink more water than I used to, but not enough.
Right.
I just like to eat. Mine isn't just sweets. Like if I have a meal and I just go, God, that tasted so good, I don't have a problem going back for another helping of it. But
so where do you go? Where does your tooth go? Salt tooth, sweet tooth? What do you when you're getting when you're eating?
If I'm watching film, I'm not going to eat a meal. I'm just going to grab something, and it could be something as simple as a bag of chips.
Right.
It's not going to be something that requires a lot of hand motion because I'm working the film. I'm working the projector, or not projector, but I'm forward, rewind.
How long does it take you to watch game film if you're
honestly, Bob does the majority of that, so that when they break it down and we present it to the team, Bob has done most of it, and then Coach Kalen does a lot of it.
Right.
Joe, he takes what they give him, and we kind of. I've learned through the years, the shorter is better.
Right.
You lose their attention if you do it long. If you do it in segments, if you just do it in segments, it keeps their attention better. But back in the day when I had to do it all and teach coaches how I wanted it done, you couldn't just do it in a day. It took you 2 or 3 days to go, I don't want to show that now. I like this set better. It shows a better version of what they're trying to do. So
when y'all played Virginia Tech for the other night, for example, or the next day, are y'all watching the game film and you're already presenting it to the players that quickly within 24 hours, kind of highlights the good and the bad?
What happens when you start in conference, you don't have time to go back and look at the previous game unless it's a loss and you really, really have to emphasize what we have to get better at, because you play twice a week. Now, prior to the game, you have 2 or 3 days to do a scouting report and get on the floor and prepare. Once you start conference, you don't have that much time. Right. So we do our work ahead of time, and then afterwards, depending on how bad or how good something is, if you want to show them anything from the game that day, because you're moving on the next day to the next game.
That makes sense. So if you're early in the season, if you're looking at this team already compared to last year's teams, what are some similarities or differences you see just right away, just something that jumps out at you?
Well, the first thing that jumps out at me is that's all right. The first thing that jumps out is we have more depth.
Yep.
Now with Samaya's injury and Kateri Poole no longer with us, we don't have that depth, but we still have the talent in a rotation of 8 players.
Right.
You have a mixture. The first thing I thought of when I got them on the floor was we have a mixture of those that have a national championship ring that know what we want done.
Right.
You have new players, and in that new group you have freshmen for the very first time in college, but yet you also have new players that are transfers that have been in college and know what it's about.
Yeah, well, speaking of new players, MK, you know, I know after having my deal with her as a high school senior, she was special, but you couldn't see how it translates till she gets on the floor in the college setting. Wow. She seems to be just something a little different.
Yeah, Gordon, I'm real hesitant to say this, but I really believe this. She could go down in the history of this program as the greatest of all time.
I was thinking
now think
that
about
myself.
that. Simone Augustus, Sylvia Fowles, Tamika Johnson. And the reason I say that is look at her stats right now, less than 10 games into her freshman year.
Yeah.
And she just can score the ball effortlessly.
She really can. I didn't realize she could shoot as well as she
Oh,
she
yeah.
does.
She can score it effortlessly, and I think she'll tell you that's what she does.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to try to do, and coaching staff's going to try to do, is I want her all-around game to just be off the charts. What do I mean by that? I want her to average 8 and 9 rebounds a game this year. Get into conference and just, hey, if I didn't score that, I'm getting ready to get that offensive rebound. Or she just has the ability to do that, and I don't think she really realizes it.
Right.
I think it's just, it comes easy for her.
Right.
She's a worker. You have no problem asking her to put the work in. You have no problem with her work ethic. And I just think, wow, what she can do by the time her career is over at LSU.
Yeah, she just seems different. She moves a little different, I think. She's obviously a strong physical player, but smart. So really excited to continue to watching her and see how she evolves and develops.
The fun part for me in coaching her, obviously, is she's a great player. But there's so many details about the game that she doesn't know. Game management.
Showing her that.
Just things like that. She'll ask me questions and she'll say, is that a good shot with that much time on the clock and we just got an offensive board? That just makes me feel so good as a coach that here is this tremendous player who still is asking you details about the game of basketball.
Yeah, she is going to be special and fun to watch. Let me ask you this. Does your team this year seem to be playing better team defense earlier, or is there more effort or energy being delivered? Something seems a little different to me watching them the other night. Maybe it was just Virginia Tech, and
it could have just been the fact it was Virginia Tech, but I think it was. We're not a polished product yet. Together, what we are is a bunch of great individual talent, and I'm gonna guard my man, you guard yours. And boy, when we get on the same page, it's really gonna be fun to see. It's gonna be fun to see.
All right, so let's. Oops, that's the wrong thing. So here we are at Smoothie King. Hi, give us 1 second. We're going to figure out what we want. Trying to eat healthy. So what do you want? Do you come here much?
I've never been here, so I'm going to take a smoothie that is anywhere along the lines of strawberry, banana. You can mix it. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty easy to please.
Hi. What do you have, kind of a strawberry, banana, healthy smoothie? What would you recommend?
You said strawberry, banana smoothie?
Yeah, just what else?
We have an angel food.
Well, we got angel food. Strawberries, banana, non-fat milk, turbinado.
Can they just do something with straight strawberries? Nothing but strawberries.
Nothing but strawberries, like a strawberry delight or something like that.
Strawberry yogurt delight.
That'll work.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, so it has fuzzy yogurt in it. You didn't mess with that, right?
That's fine.
All right.
Size? Like a medium size is fine.
Medium strawberry yogurt delight. You can pour for yourself.
Oh, no, one more thing, please.
Oh, what?
Something like kind of healthy, cleansing type of drink. Low calorie. What would that be?
said low calorie.
Low calorie and kind of healthy and cleansing.
It's
Right?
gonna be under the get well. I mean,
I like the get verb. I like that. So I like get well. Let's try that. Whatever you recommend.
you just want me to choose for you?
You choose. Yep. Most of the women in my life choose for me anyway, so that works.
Smart
real well.
man.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
a smart
telling you.
man.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Well, that's good. Look at him inside. See him? You're behind the counter, huh? You guys are really good, I tell you. Wasn't expecting that.
Got one over here.
Oh, there's some.
Somebody you feel like is a medium and then the other one is small, right?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Gordon, did you play basketball
I did.
all through
How much?
1658.
There you go.
junior
Keep it.
high, high school? How many years of your life
Yeah, well,
would
I
you
started
say you
playing.
played?
I started playing in second or third grade, and I actually walked on for Coach Dale Brown.
Wow.
As a freshman, and then I hurt my ankle.
So
during
when you
freshman
walked
practice.
on, who was on the team at that time?
Well, that's when Coach Brown had so much talent that he was able to stockpile.
Start naming them.
Yeah,
Bring back
oh,
memories
gosh.
for me.
During that time, it would have been Ricky Blanton was a freshman.
Yes.
My year. That was the year they went to the. 2 years later, they went to the Final Four in '86. So it would have been that whole nucleus of players during the Blanton era. And I guess who else would have been there? I came right after Dwayne Scales and Willie Sims,
Yes,
Rudy
yes,
Macklin,
yes.
Howard Carter. Right after that generation went through, then there was the next group, and that's kind of where I was. But I wasn't good enough. But Coach Brown was he was a good man, and he was trying to develop more talent. He had a lot of talent that time.
What about your dad? Didn't I hear he's got
Yeah, my dad played
big basketball
He played
background.
basketball. He came from Miami-Dade and was the all-time scorer there at one point till Michael Thompson, who played for the Lakers,
Mm-hmm.
came along and broke his record. But he came up here on a basketball scholarship
Yeah.
in the 50s, and that's how our family got located here.
Basketball is an interesting sport, and certainly I'm partial to it because it's what I do, but I played all sports.
Yeah, you were quite a softball baseball.
When you think about the game of basketball in college,
Right.
I don't know that there's a season any longer than basketball. You usually start in October, and if you go to a Final Four, it doesn't end until April.
Yeah, it's a long
It's a
season.
2-semester sport.
It's a grind, for sure.
And I like to pick on all my football coaching buddies and say, y'all only play 11 games. You play 12 maybe if you make the playoffs, and maybe 13, and they just
That's-
laugh. But of course,
yeah.
their bodies get pounded and
That's
killed,
right,
and
they
you
do.
can't play more than that. But when you think about all the sports,
Right.
the length of a season in basketball,
Yeah,
man, it's a lot.
It's a grind.
It's a lot.
Given what you go through, both the length of it and the pounding, the running, the jumping, it is a lot, no doubt.
It is. It's a lot.
It is. So I was thinking the other day, because it's such a good memory for me, the last time we were in this car, we had the privilege of the parade.
Yes, we did.
And you were sitting on the back up top, and
Here's the yogurt of life.
oh, well, thank you.
And then
This one's-
tell me if you like it or not.
Oh, wait,
All
one more
right.
straw.
Thank
oh,
you.
it's going to be great no matter what.
Thank
If you don't
you.
like it, I'm gonna remake it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so
Appreciate
we'll
it.
taste it real quick, but I'm sure it'll be wonderful.
Okay.
All right.
Now you've given me another place to come. I don't
this
think
is
I've
quick,
ever
and it's healthy.
been to Smoothie King. I've always heard of Smoothie Kings.
I like mine. It's really good. What was your name?
DK.
DK?
Yep.
Yeah. We were talking about MK, which
That's
is a
right.
freshman player on her team. I don't know if you're aware of who MK is, but you ought to come out and watch the team sometime. They're great.
All right.
Kim she is fun on the sidelines to watch.
Okay.
I get nervous about you. I was sitting behind you the other night, and I swear, I'm like, I hope she doesn't have something happen to her. She gets so excited.
Did you grow up here?
I played soccer.
Okay,
You-
good.
hey.
You're in Baton Rouge?
Yeah,
Growing
I'm
up?
gonna Southern.
Okay.
Okay.
Good for you.
All right.
Not collegiate, rec.
Yes.
High school.
Well,
Good for you.
We're gonna take a break when we get acclimated to the college life.
There you
There you
go.
go.
Well, this is great. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a great day.
All right.
Bye-bye. Yeah, but so we had that what a great evening. The weather was perfect. The crowd was
People asked me how crowded it was. I said I couldn't begin to tell you. All I know from start to finish, it was a lot of people, and what a wonderful memory.
It was, and I was a little too young for Beatlemania, but the Kim Mania was definitely in full force and effect that day. And
I think that
was something.
Lady Tiger basketball mania. Our state needed that,
it did.
Gordon. Our school needed that. It was just healthy. It was fun. It was. There's nothing you can say negative about what took place last year. We brought in people who've never given a flip about women's basketball.
Right.
You look at our arena now. It's sold out. I think they saved 1,000 tickets to sell to walk-ups. Who does that anymore, especially in women's sports? And
it is something what y'all have created out there. And the momentum still seems to be there, but it's one of the good memories of my life, that parade that time.
Oh man,
with you in the back, and I was probably the most nervous I've ever been driving a car. Right? 'Cause this is a high performance car, and it doesn't need much to get going. And you're right there.
I could see myself falling off the back of it.
And if I'd have thrown you out the back of it, all the goodwill.
I would have found a good attorney.
Yeah, you would have. I
would have found a good attorney and had said, "Get Gordon."
I know. It would have been bad. Now, all my goodwill, I would have blown. I injured Kim Mulkey, the legend.
Well, Shannon was with us, and she was undoing all the beads to make sure I had enough beads to throw.
What a great day that was.
It was. It really was. And then we ended it at the PMAC, and everybody was in there waiting. Right. Wow. It seems like just yesterday that happened. And now the Dallas, just the number of LSU people that showed up in Dallas.
Yeah, I don't even tell you that I've already reserved.
Yeah, don't tell me that. I don't want to hear that.
For a place in Ohio. I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah, Cleveland, right? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I don't say anything about that, but just saying. Could be interesting again. I want to ask you something, because I heard this the other day, and I kind of forgotten the phrase, and you brought it back into my mind. But you talked about the sanctity of the locker room. Mm-hmm. And it's something that probably the casual fan doesn't think about that much, right? And you talked about it. Just in general, talk about what that means to you and how you coach, because you've got to protect the locker room.
I grew up in an era, Gordon, where I played with some of the best coaches ever. Leon Barmore, Naismith Hall of Famer. Pat Summitt, Naismith Hall of Famer. Both of those won national championships, multiple championships. Right. And when you walked in that locker room, it meant something. When you saw that jersey hanging in your locker, it brought tears to your eyes, because you realized not many people honestly get to do that. Even though there's 320 something schools that have women's basketball.
Right.
It's still a small number. And I realized every day I walked in there, it was a privilege to put that practice jersey on, and then on game day to put that uniform on, and that there was going to come a day when I hung it up for good.
Right.
And that was going to be the saddest day of my life, and it was one of them. And I remember thinking, so many things happen in this locker room, good, bad, lessons are taught, and only those in that locker room that are there every day should benefit from that, because there's something about it being personal and being your comfort zone and your protection zone, and that's not for the outside to see. And I'm very selective on really who gets to come in a locker room.
I know that.
I don't know that Scott Woodward has ever walked into my locker room. I think he realizes that a locker room is a special place. Now, certainly you bring the people in there who help build that locker room from a financial point of view, but what's said in a locker room, what's done in a locker room, it's just a special place, and I'm just never ever going to feel any different about that.
Right. Is that something that in the beginning of every season you discuss with your team? You remind them how important it is about the locker room and the relationships in there?
Absolutely. Okay. And listen, you don't bring 15 young people together and go snap your finger and right. We're all cohesive and we're all bonded and right. We all believe the same. It takes work. It takes challenges. It takes ups and downs right. to make you who you are in that locker room. Right. And certainly the celebrations that go on in that locker room are so wonderful. Yeah. And then the bad parts in a locker room where things happen. Just like in a family, when right. things happen, you don't want the outside world to know. Right. You solve them within a locker room. And that's why it's just a special place. Yeah. Well, and it will always be as long as I'm coaching. Yeah. It's not a place where people just walk in and out of and see all that. We invite you into a locker room. Right.
Well, I think I'm glad you explained that, because I think to the casual fan, sometimes they maybe don't understand why some things that are said in private, and they stay private. I think you've explained that, and that's a good clarification, because we know the media wants to be intrusive and getting every little thing and kind of drive wedges at times that they can, and but not in your locker room. You just keep that. That's the sanctimony of that.
You have things that happen when you're a coach to young people.
Right.
Some of those things you can't hide from the public, right. Because it may be something, an arrest, that's public record. A DUI, that's public record. Right. Those are things that you can't hide those things. Right. But things, I call them spats, I call them little things that happen in a locker room. As a head coach, you must solve them. And those are not things the outside right. needs to know. Even if it requires you to do something where they don't play a game or they're right. not with the team for a while, some things you just don't need to know. And that's the way I was handled yep. as a player. Yep. I can remember, Gordon, and this is how our society and country and world has changed. I remember the media used to just really love the coaches when they disciplined their best player and didn't play them right. at the expense of winning a game. Man, you were the greatest coach in America. You see, he's teaching his life lessons, man. He's showing them it's not all about winning.
Right.
I remember those days. Well, what happened to that?
Right.
We want to attack people now for disciplining players. And no coach wants to discipline a player. No coach wants to do that. No parent wants to do that. But in the real world, those things happen. And I think a lot of young coaches are afraid to do it.
Right.
They're afraid to do it. And I've just never been afraid of making tough decisions for the sake of the team first.
Okay.
For the sake of the team, you always make the right tough decision, and it's not fun. You have sleepless nights, but for the sake of the team, sometimes you have to do that.
Well, I think that's proved you well in your career to do it that way. I mean, you can't argue with the success, and something you're doing is right, so I would just tell you to keep doing it.
Well, I've just been blessed to coach players, and they're not always happy with me.
No.
Heavens no. You can imagine. Half
yes.
of them, when they graduate, they don't like you for you having to discipline them, or they didn't get enough playing time. Yeah. But you hope 20 to 30 years right. down the road, they go, those were the greatest years of my life. Yeah. And that's what you hope happens.
I saw it the other night at the celebration of your 700 wins, and I took a picture of you, right, and sent it to you with
yes.
you and your kids and grandkids,
yes.
and you're sitting there, you're looking up at the big screen where many of your former players at all different universities were just expressing their love and admiration for you. How did that, I know it had to just impact you deeply.
Well, I didn't know that that was taking place, and then when I realized it, some of those I had not seen since they graduated.
Right.
They're now mothers now, and they had their children around them.
They did.
I couldn't hear all of what they were saying, so I made sure that one of the coaches sent me the video so I could lay in bed that
Right.
night. And I shed a tear.
Oh,
And I shed many tears in the bed that night
I
because
could
I could
imagine.
hear them. And some of those were role players
yeah.
that didn't get to play very much.
That's right.
Some of those were outstanding players for us. And it made me realize they didn't have to do that. They were asked to do it if they wanted to do it. But you know, as a coach, when you coach as long as I have, that you just hope the good they got from me as a coach and from the program they
Right.
played for far outweighs the bad.
Right.
And that they go on in their own lives and remember things that were said and done in that locker room, they use in their own life. Don't be me.
Right.
Be you.
Still got to be right.
But take some
Some of the
good
good
from your
traits.
coach
That's right.
that you remember.
And I think that's what most coaches do. The high school and junior high and coach you have in your life, that's what they've done. And it's commendable that, it's,
And I've been blessed, Gordon.
Yeah.
Most coaches live out of a suitcase.
They're-
They get
they're-
fired, they move to the next job. I've never been fired. I've been able to choose my next job, but here's the greatest thing. I've only been a head coach at 2 places.
what a blessing that is.
That's remarkable.
That
And
is.
I got to choose those 2 places.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
No, I've been
No.
blessed. I've been
Yeah.
blessed that those players believed in me early in my career. And then I've been blessed to have
Right.
assistants around me. I still have assistants that were with me the very first job I ever took.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing. That's not by accident either.
So, all right. Well, since we're talking about blessings, let's jump to, I would probably guess, knowing you, your biggest blessing in your life. Your children, your grandchildren. We have Christmas coming up. So give everybody out there kind of an idea of what is Christmas like in the Kim Mulkey family, and where will you be, and how do y'all celebrate it, and what do the grandkids do, and all those things.
Well, I can tell you, and anybody that has played for me from the very first time I started coaching, Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year, and I want to be with my family,
That's right.
and I want my players to be with their families. So when we do scheduling, everybody knows, give us as much time at home
Right.
as you can. And that's been from the day I became a
Yep.
coach.
Well,
I believe that no matter what your belief is, we have to have something that's greater than what we have on this
Agreed.
earth. And while it's so good and we love to win and we live great lives and we're blessed, you have to have an outlet, whether it is your family, whether it is your belief in Christianity. I don't care what it is, you have to have something else. And I've just always believed that I love my job, I've been fairly successful, but that's not more important
Right.
than my family. I told the first athletic director that hired me, if a decision had to be made between my job and my family, that decision was made long
That's
ago.
right.
And
Yeah. I've seen you live that.
Yes, fortunately for me, my 2 kids played college sports.
Right.
Coached my daughter. What a blessing that was. I got to see Kramer play his baseball at
Right.
LSU. They both played for national
Yep.
championships. Kramer didn't get his. He was inches short.
Right.
Mackenzie did. And now to have two grandchildren. I always say I have 3 because our first grandchild, Scout,
Right.
Marie, was stillborn, but we always talk about her. She has a stocking up every
Right.
Christmas.
So
We celebrate and live.
where you're going to be here in Baton Rouge?
We
celebrating?
actually, this year, after we play at Coppin State, I'm going to get on an airplane and meet them in Telluride,
Yeah, a
Colorado.
little winter,
Have
winter
never
Christmas.
been to Telluride, but
Oh,
we
that's
do
beautiful.
like to ski.
Oh, good.
I will not ski
Oh,
because that's just not what I need to be
Right.
doing right now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get in the snowmobile and I'm going to watch the
That'd be
grandkids
so great.
on their first ski trip,
So-
and we will do what most People do.
So Santa in the mountains. Santa,
you got
Santa
it.
will
Santa
come to the
will come.
mountains
We'll open presents on Christmas Day.
Will y'all cook or y'all?
Oh yeah. Now you know we're from Louisiana. I'm from.
Some
We
people
eat.
cater it out, so you'll be in there cooking.
We'll eat. Actually, I think we are going to cater, and I'm going to give you a funny story. The caterer, guess where he's from?
Louisiana's got it.
Louisiana, and he was so cute when we hired him. He said, now I'm going to do a little something special for y'all. He didn't know I was the one coming. He thought it was just the Texas crew, because that's who called him.
Right.
He said, I'm going to do a little gumbo before I give y'all your turkey and your dressing. So it was cute. My son-in-law's mother said, well, that'd be awesome, because my son-in-law's mother is from Louisiana, and she will just go nuts having gumbo. And so, long story short, he said, who is her, what's her name? And when she said Kim Mulkey, well, you can imagine the conversation after that. But
I can see that.
We're going to have fun, and it's a special time of the year, and it's also a time of the year that I want my team to give back, Gordon. You do a remarkable job with the bicycles and giving back to people. Sometimes during Christmas I get sad because I will be driving and see something that will just break my heart.
Oh yeah.
If it's a kid without shoes on, if it's just something in the store, and I guess that's just my conscience of I want to pay for something. You know, I'll go through a line and just pay for something.
Right.
Because we're blessed. I'm blessed. You're blessed.
There's no doubt about that. And we need to be a blessing to others. I think
there's no greater feeling than to do for somebody else.
I'm out there enough, and people know we have an association, and so many kind words are spoken about you, and we're fortunate to have you here as our coach. And let me ask you, Coach, how many more years you think? If you could write the script, the Hollywood script, you could end it.
Well,
LSU thing.
LSU took care of me and gave me the 10-year
Is that your goal to finish
contract.
out the 10?
My goal is always to live up to a contract and an agreement.
Right.
But I'm 61 now. I'm still young.
Right.
I always say this: I'm going to coach as long as I can put a product on that floor that's competitive and that the donors and alumni are proud of.
Right.
And number 2 is my health.
Right.
Your health, you never know, but as long as I can do those 2 things and be effective, you coach. I think the sad part in our profession is sometimes coaches don't know when to walk away. They get caught up in their egos, and also they don't have a life outside of basketball.
No, they don't.
And I do. As you know, I have a life with kids and grandkids.
Right.
I don't put a time frame on it. Heck, I was never going to be a coach. And I'm almost 40 years into this. So we're going to enjoy this. We're going to keep doing what we do, and just see how long we can keep it going.
Well, I speak for all of Louisiana. I hope it's 10 years, but certainly we want you to be healthy. We want you to keep loving your family and doing that first. And we'll see another 10 years, hopefully.
You got it. And then if
we got our healthy drink, we're doing it.
If we keep doing it, we'll go to Smoothie King again and get our strawberry and whatever health thing you drink.
And thanks for being a guinea pig on the first Grubbin With G.
I'm good. Let's go.